They whisper in corners of the internet, in late-night chats and hush-filled forums. Is Yang Mei Mei too young for you long? The question lands like a stone thrown into still water, ripple after ripple of curiosity, anxiety, and electric suspicion. From the moment their names crossed, people leaned in. Eyebrows rose. Messages piled up. Hearts raced. This story does not begin politely. It begins like a pulse that refuses to calm. Yu Long is a man weathered by seasons. He has tasted the bitter wine of betrayal, the dry desert of solitude, and the bright, relentless glare of success that asks for daily sacrifices. Scars line his memory like bookmarks, silent reminders of decisions made and losses endured. He understands cost and consequence in a way that feels almost clinical. To his admirers he projects strength. To his skeptics he projects danger. For years, that tension was part of his mystique. Yang Mei Mei, by contrast, arrived into the story like a sudden, impossible bloom. Young, luminous, and startling in her sincerity, she carried an openness that could dissolve the defenses of even the most guarded people. Her laughter suggested hope, her gestures suggested trust. But youth is porous. It soaks up projection, expectation, and public appetite. When she and Yu Long were first linked, fans felt two urges at once, the desire to protect and the hunger to decode. The early signs were tiny and deliciously ambiguous photos. Brief videos, a fleeting shared smile across a crowded room. Each fragment fed speculation. Was he mentoring her? Was this an innocent connection? Or was something deeper at play? Gossip amplified, threads multiplied. And what began as curiosity swelled into a storm of anxious commentary. The world wanted to label them quickly, and labels often hurt. Initial defenders argued that age is simply a number, that emotional maturity and mutual consent matter more than chronological years. Others countered that power dynamics are subtle and insidious. Influence can be a quiet form of force. The debate became performative. Influencers crafted lists of reasons to worry and lists of reasons to accept. Each side cast the other in sharper relief. Yet the truth is seldom reduced to sound bites. Those who knew Mei Mei before the cameras saw a different picture. She was young, yes, but she was also shaped by hardship, by early responsibility, and by a resilience that often surprised those who judged her by age alone. She had learned to carry grief with grace, to rehearse hope in the small hours, and to translate fear into disciplined work. That inner strength complicated the easy narrative of vulnerability. Yu Long, observed by insiders as a careful strategist, did not act as a man oblivious to optics. He was deliberate, protective, and painfully aware of how any move could be weaponized. Some labeled his caution as control. Others saw it as care. In private, friends described moments that contradicted headlines. A gentle hand on Mei Mei's back during a collapse of nerves. A late-night message with encouragement. Small acts that suggested tenderness rather than calculation. Nevertheless, context matters. Power can intoxicate. And the industry in which they live is filled with stories where mentorship slid into manipulation. Critics remembered similar arcs. Bright young talents, guided by older stars who later found themselves trapped in narratives they never consented to. Fear is a rational response to patterns that repeat. Fans who cry alarm are often those who refuse to let history replicate quietly. Within this tension, rumors evolved into elaborate tales. Some suggested their relationship was staged for attention. Others insisted it was genuine but unhealthy. Each rumor found an audience. The couple's silence sometimes inflamed, sometimes soothed. Silence is not a neutral act in the public sphere. It is either a shield or a stage, depending on who interprets it. There were moments that pulled at older critics' images of you. Long guiding Mei Mei through media training. Of him advising her on scripts. Of him introducing her to powerful figures. To some viewers, these were mentorship milestones. To others, they were evidence of grooming. The dividing line often boiled down to perspective. What one called support, another called encroachment. A pivotal scene shifted the discourse. A short clip leaked of a private night, Mei Mei sobbing after a personal loss. Yu Long by her side, holding her hand without fanfare. He did not perform for the camera. He simply existed as presence. For many, that small human moment recast the narrative. Care became the dominant frame, at least for some viewers. But skepticism persisted, because one moment cannot erase systems that enable unequal relationships. So where does the truth rest? Likely not at the extremes. Age alone is not judgment. It is a factor. Emotional transparency, autonomy, and the ability to. Consent parties possess full agency, and if boundaries are respected, the relationship's chronology may matter less. If those pillars wobble, concern is not just gossip, it is moral duty. For the public, this means staying vigilant without devolving into reflexive condemnation. Ask hard questions about influence and consent. Demand clarity where ambiguity reigns, but also recognize that human relationships are rarely contained by simplistic assessments. There can be tenderness in an uneven pairing and harm in an apparently balanced one. In the end, the story will live in images, in comments, and in the whispers of those who once watched from the edges. Fans will continue to parse every gesture, every gift, every public embrace. Some will find reasons to bless the couple. Others will find causes to worrying. The conflict itself mirrors our own anxieties about power, protection, and what we owe to the young. Beyond the public spectacle, consider those closest to them, family and mentors who carry quiet anxieties too. Parents read comments, like weather reports storm warnings for their child's safety. Advisors whisper about career arcs, weighing potential gains against reputational risk. Those nearby watch for signs that power is being used for protection rather than persuasion. In private conversations, friends confess to mixed feelings, admiration for a connection that looks tender, and alarm at the patterns that repeat across industries. Those voices deserve to be heard, because the messy work of safeguarding young talent often happens behind closed doors. For Mei Mei, the pressure is double-edged. She must prove herself as an artist while also deflecting unfair infantilization. She must be taken seriously in her craft while being shielded from predators. That brutal balancing act shapes her choices and scars her options. For Yu Long, the scrutiny is punishing. He must demonstrate that his care is consented to and not coerced, that his influence is support and not control. Every gesture he makes will be decoded as either proof of love or evidence of manipulation. The uncertainty can crush even generous intentions. Perhaps the most humane response is to insist on facts, not fantasies. Demand openness where secrecy breeds suspicion. Encourage third-party safeguards that protect younger performers' clear contracts, trusted advocates, and transparent mentorship.